The Zenith Defy Classic Titanium. It deserves more attention, and here's why. My name is Harrison and welcome back to the channel. When I look at this watch, I'm reminded of two watches in particular. I'm reminded of the AP Royal Oak, a grail watch of mine, and also the Patek Philippe Nautilus. It just has that 70s Genta inspired design. But here's the thing, the Patek Philippe Nautilus and the AP Royal Oak are out of reach for most people. This is within grasp. And with all that said, I've gone off on a total tangent. Let's get into the review. Now, I know a lot of you might have seen on our new Chisholm Hunter Watches Instagram channel that there was a post of this the other day, and it's because, well, we reviewed it the other day. It's gonna be today for you, but it was the other day for us. The case diameter comes in at 41 millimeters, but because it doesn't really have a bezel, it wears slightly bigger than that. I would maybe say it stretches to around about 42 wearability wise. I have 6.5 inch wrists, and this is the perfect size for me, I have to say it. We were having a look online before this. Drew and I were on the computer doing some research, and we couldn't find the lug to lug or the thickness online. So I thought, well, we bought these tools for a reason, why don't we just do it ourselves? So the thickness comes in at 11.2 millimeters in, well, thickness. It's actually not as thick as I would have thought for a power reserve of 50 hours. We'll get onto the movement in a second. It is quite slim, which kind of plays into that dress watch theme. The lug to lug, according to my measurements, comes in at 45 millimeters, which is quite big actually. It's bigger than I thought it would be. Now, an interesting detail about this watch is the bracelet doesn't fit in between the lugs. It goes all the way out to the sides, and you'll be able to see that just here. Now, what this does is it gives the watch a more compact appearance, and it plays into that 70s design. I really, really like it. This Zenith Defy is obviously made of titanium. Now, titanium is a lot tougher than any other metal you'll get on a watch, whether it's platinum, whether it's steel, or whether it's gold. It is the toughest you will find, and it's also the lightest. It actually feels quite strange. It feels quality, but it doesn't weigh what you think it would feel like. Does that make any sense? Because it's so light. So the next thing to do, obviously, is get this on the scales and see how much it actually weighs. This is insane. It only comes in at 109 grams with a bracelet. To compare that to my Omega, and bearing in mind my Omega has a rubber strap, not a bracelet like the Zenith, it comes in at 112 grams, so 3 to 4 grams heavier than the Zenith, even though the Zenith has that bracelet. To be honest, I'm not sure how I feel about titanium personally, and obviously this is just a personal point of view. I like to have a bit of weight to my watch. I like them to be quite sturdy. However, I also like them to be very versatile and resistant to damage. So on that front, the titanium makes sense, but I do like the weight. So I'm kind of not sure how I feel. Would you go for steel or would you go for titanium? Let me know in the comments. Let's move on to the bracelet before we get onto the dial and the movement. The movement by far being my favorite bit because I'm a nerd. So the bracelet kind of tapers in really, really nicely. And it's that vintage 70s design that we can see on the AP and also the Patek Philippe Nautilus. It's just brilliant. The light catches it really, really well. When you turn it in the light almost seems to jump down a notch each time. It's just beautiful. I love this. It also has a deployment buckle just here, which fits really, really nicely. When it comes to the case, you have a cross between brushed and polished titanium, which reflects the light beautifully. When it comes to titanium, this process of brushing it and polishing it is actually more difficult than, say, steel. So that does have an impact on the price. You get what you pay for. Also, titanium is a lot darker as a metal than steel, and it gives it more of a stealthy appearance, and I'm quite into that. When it comes to the crown, it's kind of shorter and more stubby than I'm used to, but I like that. And the reason that I like it is when, let's say for an example, you're getting out the pool and you're bending your wrist, some crowns can be a little bit too intrusive and dig into your wrist. They just seem to make the crown guards and the crown as well that little bit too prominent, but this isn't that little bit too prominent, it's just right, and it's very, very easy to turn. It also allows this watch to have a water resistance of 100 meters. Now for the dial, and what I'm going to say about this dial is it's beautifully simple. It goes back to the art of reading the time, don't overcomplicate it. That is what this dial does, and I really, really like it. It has a blue sunray dial, and they kind of use a really, really dark blue. It almost looks black in certain lights. It's pretty beautiful. It reflects really, really nicely, or contrasts really, really nicely with the highly polished hands and indices. The date window is at 6 o'clock. No, it's not, it's at 3 o'clock, but I wish it was at 6 o'clock. Most watches above the 6 o'clock mark put some features about the watches. They might put 100 meter water resistance, automatic, what movement's in it, but this doesn't. And it's really clean. They've taken a different approach to most other watches, and it works. Below the 12 o'clock mark is the iconic Zenith star, and then below that is obviously the Zenith logo. A little feature that you might have noticed is that on the second hand, at the end of the second hand, is the Zenith star. Again, really, really nice touch, and it's almost skeletonized so you can see the dial through it. Another feature that I found quite interesting. The minute hand and the hour hand obviously have Super Luminova, but the Super Luminova is almost halved, and the rest is filled with almost like black. And the tips are also black. You'll see this on the macro shot a little bit closer. I'm really sure how I feel about this design. I'm not sure if I prefer it filled with Super Luminova or not. It does create quite a good contrast. What do you think? And what I was talking about just there, you should be able to see when we have a look at this lume together. So the lume here you can see is fully down the hands and then it stops just here. That is where the black begins. So I'm not sure if I'd prefer this with the lume the whole way down the hands, but you still have great readability. Listen guys, it's that point in the video again. Chisholm Hunter are official authorized retailers of Zenith watches. If you want to shop any Zeniths, then head to chisholmhunter.co.uk. That's chisholmhunter.co.uk. Now we get on to the beautiful Zenith movement. This movement is the Zenith Automatic Elite movement, and it has 187 components, beats at a frequency of 28,800 VPH, and has a power reserve of 50 hours. The rotor in the back of this movement is obviously, being a Zenith, the iconic Zenith star, and it's almost skeletonized. I love the fact it's skeletonized. I mean, you can see into the movement. I really hold watches very highly that have open case backs. They have nothing to hide. Their movements are beautiful. So I have to say I'm a huge fan of this. This has of course been a very positive review, but that's because it's a very positive watch. I can't remember the last time I said I like this and I love this as much as I have this review. The only thing that I would maybe change, and this is me nitpicking, is moving the date window to 6 o'clock, but that's personal preference. To be honest, I think this watch deserves so much more attention. It's simplistically beautiful. The movement is a Zenith in-house movement, it's the elite movement. It looks leaps and bounds ahead of other movements that I've seen in the luxury industry. This should be talked about more. For those of you that are still here and have actually lasted until the end of this video, before you hit that subscribe button, take a look at this on the wrist. It is beautiful. Look at the way it catches the light. And with that said, I'll see you soon.